Hello dear friends, welcome to this program, Our Moments with God, our moments with the Word of God, our moments with the love, mercy and compassion of God, our moments also with the holy ones of God, the saints of God, as well as our moments with the beautiful nature of God. As you can see, it is still snowing here and snow has not yet melted. This year it is really lasting very long. It's almost a month that we have snow all around. Usually it snows and then after 4-5 days the sun becomes stronger and it melts away, but this year it is lasting longer. But these are still beautiful days. I am feeling a bit cold, but I also enjoy coming out and having some fresh air and standing here. But also it gives me an opportunity to appreciate God's nature and God's wonderful things that He does for us. And I invite you also to be co-proclaimers with me of the Word of God by sharing the videos with others, liking the videos and also writing your comments. Thank you very much. You know, some of the people ask me, don't you feel very cold here? How do you survive? Some others ask me, do you fast very often that you are so thin? Actually, I am not that thin, but yes, by comparison to many others, I look a bit thin, but I don't fast because I am a diabetic for last 31 years. So I dare not fast and I need to eat regularly. But you know, this question of fasting, maybe because of my thinness or whatever, people come and ask Jesus today in the gospel, how come that the disciples of John the Baptist and others fast, but your disciples do not fast? And then Jesus gives them a very beautiful answer. It appears that he is trying to escape. No, he is not escaping. He is giving them a very profound identity and profound meaning behind why the disciples do not fast. And he is also telling them how sometimes meaningless are some of the old traditions that we hold on to, whether it be of fasting. Not that fasting is bad, not that fasting is not required, but Jesus is taking an opportunity to explain to them how sometimes people hang on to the old traditions without finding out what they mean or how they help you or they do not help you, and whether the presence of God and the love of God and the mercy of God and the nature of God can give you a different perspective. Now, let me just give you an example. In the last few years before Pope Francis passed away, people were very critical of him because he had made some changes into the ritual of saying Mass in Latin. So, new parishes were coming up where people used to encourage others to come and join Latin Mass, and many of them were saying, oh, Latin Mass is so beautiful, there is so much of devotion in it, and etc. What they were actually trying to say is that Latin Mass is our old tradition. Before the Second Vatican Council, it used to be only Latin Mass. I remember I used to, as a boy, serve Mass in our cathedral in Ajmer, where the Mass were said in Latin, but I understood not a word. And people understood not a word. My parents or my uncles and aunts, they understood not a word. So the Vatican Council brought about a wonderful change to have Masses in our own vernacular, in our own languages, that we could understand the gospel, the word of God, what prayers were being said during Mass, how we were offering prayers for those who have died before us, for the church, for the Pope, etc. No. But some people want to hang on to the tradition even if they don't understand the Mass, just because it is a tradition. And poor Pope Francis received such a lot of criticism for that. And actually what Pope Francis was doing was exactly what Jesus is doing today in the gospel. And this is unfortunately the thing that happens to many of us who hold on to tradition. Even sometimes the place I go to say Mass here in the city, in Vienna, they want to bring some old traditions back because they think by holding on to traditions we become pious. No, that is not what Jesus is saying. Jesus is saying we become pious when we experience His presence. He says, Why should they fast when the bridegroom is with them? That is because his presence brings us greater freedom, because his presence brings us the forgiveness, the love and mercy of God, which is above everything. Not that traditions are not important, certainly, but some meaningless traditions we hold on to at the cost of ignoring God's presence. And how? By ignoring also God's presence in other people, those who do not think like us, those who do not behave like us. We think that God does not abide in them. Why God abides in me because I am traditional. What a funny argument. But this is how some of them live. And Jesus wants to take us away from meaningless traditions, not that about fasting. Fasting is just an occasion that Jesus is using to explain to people. And my dear friends, if you like, you may please subscribe to this channel and also share it with others. Thank you.